I just talked to Police Chief Brad Davis about an hour ago, and he confirms that there was an isolated shooting here at Lakefront Estates off West Brown Street in Beaverton. You can see the scene is still pretty active behind me, and he does confirm one person has died. But he wants to put a stop to some social media rumors that there was a mass shooting.
Lauren, thank you. Breaking news now, a missing Burton woman was found safe. 20-year-old Monica Latrice Griffin went missing from an adult foster care home. This was news we first brought you earlier this week. Police issuing a missing endangered alert Sunday, saying she had life-threatening medical issues and needed medication. Thank you, Matthew. And more breaking news from overnight, a successful ghost operation in Genesee County. The first is a man from Lapeer. The second, a former sergeant who worked in Tuscola and Genesee counties and in Florida. The third, a man from Genesee County who the sheriff says works in the auto parts industry. Hitting the jackpot. The winning ticket for last night's massive $842 million Powerball jackpot was bought right here in mid-Michigan at the Food Castle in Grand Blanc. We appreciate you joining us for TV5 News at noon. I'm Blake Keller, in for Colette today. This is the second largest jackpot ever won in Michigan. We have TV5's Lenita Brooks joining us live from Grand Blanc with more on that winning ticket. And I'm Blake Keller. This swap is supposed to free Marine veteran and Michigan native Paul Whelan, as well as Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. A senior Biden administration official telling ABC News and Bloomberg News the two Americans are heading home. Whelan was arrested in Moscow on December 28, 2018 on charges of espionage. We've been covering this breaking news all morning long. A crash happening at the Saginaw Children's Zoo, and it's wet. And we're going to see some winds today, too. So First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondros tracking that and everything you need to know in your First Alert forecast.
Sierra, good morning. Yeah, a woman was stabbed here on the street of where it happened. It's Mary Court, I want to say. Mary Court here at the Saginaw Bay Estates mobile home park. And I'm pretty much standing right in between of where the incident unfolded. I'm going to step off to my right, over my left shoulder. That's your right. You'll see the gathering of, investigators right here. The Michigan State Police Crime Lab is still on the scene. We have a large portion of the street taped off by state police tape.
This is historic. It's the first time in the union's history, 88 years, that it is striking against all three automakers. So yeah, like you said, this is part of their new strategy where certain plants are striking, which one is right now in Detroit, but the one here in Saginaw is not. This is a targeted strike, like you mentioned. Of course, the other plants affected, the GM plant in Wentzville, Missouri, and the Stellantis Jeep plant in Toledo, Ohio.
GM's deal is similar to agreements from Ford and Stellantis. Voting at Ford wraps up Saturday and on Tuesday for Stellantis. And now that those contracts are approved, we are looking at what's really next for the UAW. Tim, how is people with your local chapter feeling about the decision? It looks like you guys voted yes.
Yeah, my local is extremely happy.
Mike, the homeowner here, tells me that in his lifetime, he's experienced 3 separate tornadoes, but the storm that passed through here was something he never experienced before. Hey, good morning, everyone. We are here at Vassar High School. They are just getting their pep assembly underway just literally seconds ago. And we got the gym crowded with 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, all the way up to our seniors and our juniors who are over here on the screen right now. We got the band playing a very special piece for all of the students who are coming back here to Vassar High School and middle school, as well as the elementary school. As for what's next, Steve says that he's going to preserve this portrait and then eventually pass it down to Alyssa. We're here at Wheeler Landing Yacht Club in Bay City, and that's where the Freedom Boat Club is also stationed. And with me this morning, we have Adam Banta, membership executive, and he's just going to run us through a little bit of the process. If you don't know what Freedom Boat Club is, how it works, he's the guy that's going to make it all easy. And that's pretty much the goal of Freedom Boat Club, making boating easy. So, Adam, tell us a little bit about what to do when we get here. Say you're already signed up to be a member. What's next? So you can see the tumor right here. But after the first surgery, this was about 20% left of that tumor. After the second surgery, only 5% remained. So next, Marina is getting 6 weeks of radiation.
This workplace model allows staff to spend less time in here and more time at home with their friends and family, and they say they don't think they're ever going to go back to any other type of schedule. A former employee of the Diocese of Lansing and member of the LGBT community says this is still progress. Patrick Wells O'Brien is Catholic and worked for the diocese for 21 years, loving his job, but ultimately making the decision to leave so he could marry his husband. And that breaking news, disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar stabbed multiple times at a federal prison. We appreciate you watching TV5 News at 9. I'm Blake Keller.
And I'm Sierra Cersei. Thank you so much for joining us.
He was 15 years old when he shot and killed 4 students on November 30th, 2021, hurting several others, including a teacher. He admitted guilt more than a year ago to 24 charges, including first-degree murder and terrorism. This summer, a judge determined he is eligible for a life sentence without parole.
This is WNEN TV5 News.
A former president pays a visit to the UAW.
I side with the auto workers of America and with those who want to make America great again.
This morning, we recap Donald Trump's trip to Michigan. Former President Donald Trump in Michigan Wednesday, telling UAW workers he is siding with them while taking shots at President Joe Biden, who joined striking workers on the picket line just a day before him. That appearance here in Michigan by former President Trump caused him to miss the second GOP presidential debate. Breaking overnight, investigators are now searching for a motive after shootings at Michigan State University killed at least 3 people. Another 5 victims were transported to the hospital and are in critical condition. Police say the suspect later took his own life. This morning, Rashad Trice facing even more charges. The Macomb County prosecutor announcing multiple felonies against the 26-year-old accused of Winter's kidnapping. Though Trice is accused of taking Winter from Ingham County and her body was found in Wayne County, part of Trice's travel was in Macomb County. A big day for the Michigan Wolverines. We're waking up winners and so happy. Last night, they won the National College Football Championship.
They defeated the Washington Huskies 34-13.
This morning, SVSU athletics transitioning to a clear bag policy at football games. This just coming into our newsroom in the last half hour. The school says this added safety measure will allow for easier gates entry without these bag checks.
As you said, we texted you yesterday, can you come on the show just in case, you know, the Lions win? And you go, the Lions will win. I will see you there.
I love the confidence.
We will celebrate a victory is what I told you. And I'm like, let's do this.
I had like an anxiety attack on my drive home because I was still feeling the heat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have went to emergency.
I know, right? You might have to after eating this.
Wow.
I'm just,
I don't know
you
about
don't like
that one.
spicy stuff anyway, so you would be.
Well, I like the flavor of spicy stuff, but I can't
You can't
handle
do
the
it.
heat.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
Oh my
Matthew would
gosh.
straight up go to the hospital.
I probably would.
Grab my hand here, I'm gonna turn, and boom, elbow across, elbow back, and now I have enough to get away.
Yeah.
I want to bring Lindsay in just so we could talk about, you know, attending these classes.
Absolutely.
How do we attend these classes?
Money and power than they care about us or our children.
Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha reads a blurb from her best-selling book, What the Eyes Don't See,
And what's kind of been an issue here in Flint,
to a group of people who came to see her.
we've had a ripple effect across this country.
It's a story of many things.
Refusing to accept the status quo, refusing to accept poisoned water, refusing to accept all these conditions that make it hard for our kids to be healthy and successful.
And people got to ask her questions
That sometimes those same agencies that are supposed
and understand the water crisis from her perspective.
But it's also a book that's filled with history and really kind of having this heightened antenna for injustice.
It was at Flint Public Library this month.
It was a great discussion.
Dr. Hanna-Attisha's notoriety began September 2015 after releasing a report
So despite switching back to Detroit Lake Huron water,
showing high levels of lead in kids
the water is not safe, and people need to know that.
and detailing the many effects lead has if consumed.
It increases the likelihood of a drop in your IQ, behavioral problems.
10 years later, a point of reflection.
And I never thought I would be like at the center of one of our most emblematic environmental and public health crises of our time.
And many changes.
It wasn't my plan to write a story.
In the name of personal health.
No matter kind of what the resistance I got and the backlash I got, this wasn't about me, that this work, it was about protecting my kids, my Flint kids.
Giving her the courage to change the narrative.
There have been so many positive ripple effects, really led by our advocates and the people here in Flint that have made a difference nationally.
She says because what Flint went through,
we now have billions of dollars invested in safer drinking water. We have stronger regulations.
Still acknowledging the crisis was preventable.
The neat thing is that we've been able to make sure that future Flints don't continue to happen.
But she's optimistic for kids' futures in Flint.
So that is a story that I am so excited to talk about.
Saying the new RX Kids program has the same spirit as the Flint water crisis.
We, as a community, refuse to accept poison water, and we as a community are standing together and refusing to accept children growing up in poverty.
10 years later, this pediatrician and now author.
So here is another amazing example of Flint leading the nation.
Leaving signatures in her book.
For the kids.
And leaving her mark on the nation and on Flint.
We are grateful to Dr. Mona's dedication to our communities.
In Flint, I'm Blake Keller. WNEM TV 5.